When you said like you just like parachuted into this place and you had zero, you were started at zero. I think that's why like you relied so heavily on your
I think so, because they all started off young. You don't have a gravity. You don't have a gravity. Life is so fragile. That's how I felt. It could be happening in a second, just turning it upside down.
I visit the campus library and find physical copies of my parents' PhD dissertations. My mom's is titled Formation and Characterization of Anchored Polymer Coatings on Aluminum. There's a Cheetos bag sandwiched between the front cover and the first page. Memorable one. I asked my mom about this later. Did you have a Cheetos bag in your dissertation? Maybe as some sort of message to future readers? She was like, in the acknowledgments, which is the only section I can understand, she writes, I shall give all glory and honor to God. He, all caps, is my strength. I throw away the Cheetos bag on my way out.
That shit was funny.
The first person I talked to in Oklahoma is Dave, the nice gentleman with the warm smile who just like that. Notes. Dave knew me as an infant and visited us in Philly, which I've been on. My parents always referred to me as my yeah, my grandfather. Perhaps the face of the alien child I never met.
Good day, good day.
This would probably be my first and only chance to talk to him, at least since I gained consciousness from the college speech. I wanted to know, who is this man? How did he end up in charge of this Chinese military that changed the fate of Americanized lives? My life. Hello? Hi, nice to finally talk with you. How are you?
Somebody over here.
For being 90 in February.
You're okay with me recording that?
If you're recording it,
Yeah, is that okay?
it's okay. But let me say this,
Sure.
that says that if you technically identify somebody, the devil really can come in and try to take away their testimony. I would just use that if you do the right thing, that's honoring his mom and dad, but you don't want the devil jumping on. So do you understand that?
I do, yeah. The way I understand what Dave is saying here is that since I'm publicizing my parents' story, I need to make sure not to dishonor or slander
Oh yeah,
because the devil is lying here. Dave worked as a campus minister in colleges across the U.S. and the world, in Nebraska, in Maryland, and Nairobi, Kenya. But he spent the bulk of his career ministering to Chinese international students at OU, as the University of Oklahoma is confusingly nicknamed, starting in 1987, 2 years before my parents arrived. Did you have any sort of like prior knowledge of like China or Chinese culture or language or anything like that?
Well, no. When the Chinese started coming over here in
one day
China,
at a time.
they
Now,
had
one day at
never
a time.
been in a church. They had never met a Christian.
I don't
They had
even know
never
who the
seen the
hell that
Bible. But they came over here wanting to
I'm
know our culture.
glad to be streaming
It's
again though.
like
It's
they
been a
kind of
minute.
stumbled into this role. They saw a new
It's been
population
a
at
minute.
OU,
It's
many of whom were
pretty
already
streaming.
curious about Western culture and Christianity, and he was happy to oblige. It was clarifying for me to learn that Dave had been a missionary in Kenya. I come to think of him as a sort of domestic missionary, serving people from outside the U.S. within the U.S.
I think somewhere they got in maybe 500 churches in years. We didn't run. We didn't want them to become Christians to please us. But we would run, take them to church, they got Bible study with them.
Among these acts of love was practical things, like picking my dad up from the airport. My mom came 4 months later. Dave picked her up as well. At that point, my dad was ready to convert. Dave and his wife came to my parents' apartment. My dad got on his knees, prayed to accept Jesus into his heart.
And then their dad looked up and smiled and he said, this wasn't as hard as I thought it would. And he was really happy. And I looked over at your mom and she was crying. And I said, what's the matter? She said, well, you're Christian and that's my husband's a Christian, but I'm the only one that's not a Christian.
Still, God says that there is stand between you and so you felt like there was a line, like a dividing line between you at that moment?
Yeah, it's people a child of God. I'm not there. So it feels like you're not in a different part. Be patient. We'll get to that, but we ain't even know what it's all about.
Help, help!
I
Help me, prayer.
Christ until my mom came to Christ as well.
He's right there, watch out, he's gonna get me.
Maybe a month or 2 or 3 weeks.
Hurry, revive me, revive me.
Those are the times.
No, he's in there, he's in there, jump. Yeah.
I got my parents
Revive me, stay revived.
Within raising
Hey, revive me at the same time when you,
that I rejected
guys.
and that I'm still recovered.
Revive me at the same time.
But then, when I go to him in person,
Thank you,
I resolved to tell him the full truth. Dave was in an assisted living facility now. In the lobby, I meet his son and daughter-in-law. We'd ask that I not record the conversation.
Thank
They
you,
were
thank
calling
you.
recently.
I thought I was gonna be done.
He sits in an armchair in his room and wears a necklace. If he sneezes or laughs too hard, he can hurt himself. After a softball question, I force myself to come clean. I'm no longer Christian. How does he feel about people who tried to lead to Christ, who either didn't believe or later left? Dave smiles. He asks if I've heard the story of the prodigal son. It's a classic, one of Jesus' most famous parables, where a failed son disobeys his dad and later returns to him, penitent and willing to accept any punishment. But instead, his dad forgives him and welcomes him home. Dave then explains that he has a daughter who left the church. In high school, she angrily confronted Dave with tears in her eyes and told him, Dad, please apologize to me for being a Christian. I didn't understand what you meant by that. It's a way of saying, apologize for making this decision, for raising me with a school I didn't choose, and I don't agree with. In a sense, I'm asking the same thing. Yeah. Why did you forget me? His daughter left the church. They've been trying to convince her that
Come close,
like loving her and paying for her.
Let's go.
Like the
Stay with it. You guys want to go again? Stay with the team?
To her father.
Or what?
These days, she visits him every
Ready up?
week in the assisted living facility. Dave emphasizes again that he never forced anyone to believe anything. That if someone chooses to
Let's do a play with the new team.
they need to be loved, whatever their
Might as
decision
well.
is. She also tells me there will be nobody going to hell who didn't have an opportunity to accept Christ. He says it in a way that isn't angry or spiteful, just sad, almost kind. It's getting late. Dave needs to take his medication. We stand up. I love you, he tells me. Give my love to your parents. We hug. And I get it when he's converted. This man is filled with so much love and gives it so freely. To my parents, to me, to all the people who picked up from the airport and fed and sheltered and helped out on their feet. Where does his love come from? In the moment, I'm convinced that it must be something beyond what even human is capable of. It must come from God. On the receiving end of a transformational love, I consider being the prodigal son. For the briefest flash of a moment, I consider the parent.
Can I pray for you?
When we were on the phone, this is how Dave ended the call. I didn't feel like I could say no. I didn't want to disappoint my wife grandpa. Sure.
Okay. Lord, thank you for this wonderful invention, the phone. Let's go on and may join our hearts at the throne of grace. Lord, I just thank you for one calling and And I pray the rest of his life that he will walk with you and he draws his last breath. In Christ's name,
Running in
amen.
Spanish.
Amen. I talked to Dave on Saturday night. Come Sunday, it's obviously again. Quick voicemail because I am already late, but I'm at the church. Kind of tired, woke up at 8:30, stayed up late last night. Already late, but gonna go to this neighborhood. So we'll see how it goes. This is the church where Dave led the Chinese fellowship, the one my parents attended, and that I attended as an infant until we moved away when I was 2. What are you supposed to mean to them? These are people who have zero experience with organized religion. What do they get from going? The Chinese Fellowship is now run by 7 people. 7 Daves, in other words. 3 of them are Chinese, and 4 of them are white. I spoke to one of the new white Daves over the phone, who told me that I could record the service. But a few days later, while I was cooking butternut squash risotto, he called again and told me he had found a podcast called Jesus Wept. Jesus Wept is a podcast my fiance Grace and I, where we analyze and, to be honest, make fun of various topics related to evangelical Christianity. We process our respective religious traumas through humor. In the most recent episode, I went to a Chinese church and recorded the service. Afterwards, Grace and I critiqued the speakers and, again, to be honest, made fun of them. I told Grace that one of the speakers said that because Paul writes that women shouldn't have authority over men, she won't teach men in the church. So then basically she is like, well, in the church, I will teach women, I will teach children, but I will not teach men, except in specific circumstances. Like what? I don't know, like change your diapers? Maybe. Or PhD? He has a master's in divinity, yeah, from the summer here. Yeah. See, never Dave tells me over the phone that after listening to the podcast, he's changed his mind and won't allow me to record anything on it, which is reasonable. I recorded a church service and made fun of it, and he doesn't want me to do the same thing to his church. In the podcast, I talk about how I don't believe in God, and as we wrap up the conversation, New Dave says he needs my word that I won't record. He says, I know you don't believe in God, but I must work on it, like your Chinese heritage. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm like, sure, you have my word. See you Sunday. When I enter the church, New Dave is waiting in the lobby. I shake his hand and tell him I'm not recording. I was allowed to do sound effects and freesound.org. Although I do have the pink notebook I bought from Target for $3. We walk past an armed guard to the gymnasium, where the Mandarin Sunday School. It's incredible that the Mandarin Sunday School isn't even dedicated classroom, but an equity gym with a basketball court. Later introduces me to the sitting around the folding table. They ask if I can speak Chinese.
If you got enough gold to buy us all back, just run.
I'm kidding, dude. Phrase. ABC.
No way.
And I kid, that's me.
Hey,
American born
yeah.
Chinese. As a side note, I didn't take the phrase ABC. Just call me Chinese and learn.
Let's go back to the.
Anyway,
You guys want to go
says
again?
that since he can't speak Mandarin,
You guys want to
he's
go
gonna
again or
leave us
what?
through it. It's nice to be away
Oh,
from
yeah.
local things,
They're not.
at least for a little bit. Talk about ourselves.
Play with the new
I
team.
associate
Go
with
play with
family, home, love. My parents must have really craved that when they first came here. Who else could be from the Chinese community in a small town in Oklahoma? Someone later tells me that this church is usually the first stop for new Chinese immigrants. People from church are willing to give rides to the supermarket, furniture for apartments, help with taxes, and all sorts of essential services. My mom still uses the set of bowls that Dave got for her. When the service begins, we sing hymns in Mandarin. Again, this is not a recording from Oklahoma, it's YouTube. The speaker, an older white guy, delivers the sermon in English, and like most sermons, it's boring. I picture my parents in these same seats, praying the same things, singing the same songs that I would grow up singing. Don't advise me. So this question, it was considering that's enough. Radio.
1036 KUOW 94.9. Go back in time and find one black box story that you thought could play. Just one. Super feature. Let's not judge it. Our ancestors were best.
Alright, you guys want to go? Darth Vader is down there. Alright, let's get it. Darth Vader. Let's go for the Darth Vader. He's over here.
Join your mom for a special mini stage reading and explore the inspired captivating stories live. That's May 22nd at Ben Royal Hall in Seattle. Find out more and get your tickets at KUOW.org/events.
There's at least gonna be a
KUOW
team
inspired and informed with the latest news from your neighborhood that connects you to your city. Whether it's an update on the latest legislation from the residents or where to find the best meal in the city, we've got you covered. Discover more from KUOW. Download the KUOW app to listen anytime and anywhere.
Support for KUOW comes from Servo
Is there a whole-
locally owned professional exterior and interior painting and color consultation services for homes or businesses. Each service located businesses independently owned and operated.
Okay, I got you.
Estimates and locations at CERTA.
I don't know.
We're going to these tonight. We're going to like to this evening and that time after this hour. And behind your opportunities,
You ran out that
rain likely to late afternoon, then showers and the chance of thunderstorms. Saturday night, lows down into the mid to upper 40s. Mostly cloudy, showers likely and a chance of thunderstorms. Then in the evening, rain likely late in the weekend, and then a chance of rain after midnight. Sunday high up near 65, sunny, chance of rain in the morning. BBC World Service has been more away.
Oh, he raged quit. Hell.
This program, Turkey Dave, Prolong's pilgrimage to finally understand why it's been society from Christians in the American station to read. We pick up our story, go look out for
You fucking kidding me?
When I fly home to Pittsburgh, we tell Grace about going to my parents' church and reading graves.
Hey, wait, unless you want to crack jokes.
Maybe Christianity is just my excuse to hate myself. They gave myself loathing a shape and structure, but it isn't the root cause.
Oh man,
Maybe
he's
I'm
landing
hating
somewhere else.
myself no matter what.
I hope, or if you guys
Maybe it
know.
doesn't matter what path my God chose, that crossroads in the Oklahoma City airport. If he never met Dave and never believed, maybe I'd still have the same self-loathing.
Zipline.
If I grew up communist like my parents,
No, don't
maybe
do
I'd be
that.
like, I'm such a bourgeois, capitalist, worthless piece of...
Go in the
I need to
zipline
write
and
myself criticism
use the
and
reboot
live in a
van.
struggle session. Thankfully, I can ask with my stream of whether I'd hate myself if I hadn't been raised Christian, by comparing myself
You could
with my
reboot
high
me,
school friend
and then we can
Andrew.
go get Baboos.
Andrew grew up in the same suburb of
Years and
Salem.
years.
His parents are highly educated Chinese
There's a reboot
immigrants
van
who
over
attended
here.
the same school district and have the same circle of friends.
It's someone I marked.
He was raised by atheist parents who were never interested in Christianity or church.
I asked my mom one time, like, have you ever been to church? And she was like, oh, yeah, of course you've been to church.
Wait,
And then
go
what
this
she
way.
said back was that we
I
walked
keep
into
going the way that you're going. There's a reboot van right
So I
here.
sit Andrew down and tell him that I want to conduct a science experiment where you're the atheist control group.
If you have gold, you can buy the rest of it.
Okay, I understand that we have a sample size of 2. But just humor me. Andrew has lived the life I always imagined. A life without church, or youth group, or Bible study, or retreats near Lancaster, out in Amish country.
Hell yeah, thank you.
And so my question is, in this alternate atheist
If you got
reality
gold,
that Andrew
you
is
should
raised
use your
in,
gold for
does he
buying
also
back the other
struggle with
cards.
self-loathing?
Put
Does he
triangle.
not like himself?
I don't like myself.
Okay, alright, well, fine. But does he dislike himself the same amount as I do, in the same way? Does he do the same where I ask someone endless follow-up questions,
Okay.
and if they ask me something, I do verbal jujitsu and be directed back to
I'm
them
gonna
because
try
I hate
looting this
talking about
place up so I
myself,
can get some
because I
money.
hate myself.
So familiar. I could say those exact same words. That's exactly what I do.
Like if Andrew's meeting one of his colleagues for the first time, he'll be like,
What's the topic that you? How long have you been in university? What kind of research do you do? What's your line? Who are you working with?
and if someone asks Andrew a question, like what his research is, he'll be like,
Oh, I work in biostats. And then I just call it there. I just make sure as hard as possible that I don't ask me any questions. I don't want to talk about it.
Andrew didn't even have to grow up Christian to hate himself, and for self-hatred to manifest in the exact same way. So where's this coming from? Andrew doesn't even sin with God. Why do we hate ourselves, even though we were raised with such different beliefs? Well, Andrew thinks the answer might be right in front of us.
I wonder, with the science experiment, maybe the main thing that's balancing us, that makes us comparable, is the second generation.
From a very specific cohort of people who grew up during the Cultural Revolution, went to the best colleges in China, went abroad to get STEM PhDs, and got well-paying jobs in academia, in pharmaceuticals, and biomedicine.
And I think that, to me, makes me always kind of feel inadequate in a way, right? Like, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to achieve that kind of rags to riches kind of story. Because I was never in rags. My parents were the ones that kind of struggled through that.
So we're more or less on the same page when it comes to self-loathing. But what about the shame I feel about sex and sexuality? What about my inability to tennis movie with grace? Does Andrew feel that's an immense shame? So how do you feel about sex morally?
I think it's also like a lot of Christians will marry early, right? Because they have to marry before they have sex. But like, the people that don't grow up
still alive, right?
it's consensual active sex is just not the problem.
Andrew started dating when he was 15. I didn't start until a decade later. But we tried to isolate the effect Christianity had on me. That's the word we kept returning to. Shame. The shame I feel about having a body, about being a wretched sinner in need of redemption. Andrew feels none of that. The shame goes to my very core, in a way that Andrew can't relate to. I told him about how, even today, when I remember something embarrassing I said or did years ago, I'll still say out loud to myself because it's such a reflex at this point. I'm like, oh, I hate myself. I should kill myself. I verbalize that.
You still say that.
Yeah, you act surprised. Have you ever done this? Have you ever said, no.
But yeah, that'd be tough. That'd be technically I don't know that either.
Are you telling me that you've never said out loud to yourself, I hate myself, I'm going to kill myself? You've never said that, Andrew?
I've never said that. That's a Christian difference.
Yeah. The Christian difference is a belief that my existence is fundamentally wrong. The Christian difference is a need to punish myself for my existence. I don't regret being raised Christian. I wouldn't be who I am today otherwise. And I'm incredibly grateful for everything my parents have done for me. But in this one aspect, I know I would have experienced less pain if my dad had stood at that crossroads in the Oklahoma City airport and showed me a different path. I never told my parents about the damage Christianity caused me. I didn't want to make them feel bad or think I was blaming them. I didn't want to see them ungrateful. But now, it's what I finally decided to do. At this point, it's the only thing. I was actually damaged by going to church and being raised in church. Does that make sense? Like, do you understand that?
It's hard.
Hey, Bubbles, come here, come back. Come back here, behind you. No, right, stay right here.
Just relax.
Let's go help our teammate down there. When you're done. I'll wait for you.
Really? What do you feel about that?
Because we really did check.
Let's listen.
And obviously, I didn't really talk to feel that much. And they just seem how to feel about check.
The train's over
They're
here.
just going to be wonderful what church teaches us right.
Oh shit, they're over here.
You felt like you blindly believed.
me, that's when we start to believe what church is teaching, the way they teach.
So do you have any regrets then about raising me and sister in the church?
Yes, but after you said that to me, yeah, I feel I didn't really pay too much attention to how they taught you, how they taught you, how that print, how that manifest, yeah, go on. I feel good.
I was not expecting this. I always thought my mom and dad were united from true believers. When I first interviewed my mom about converting to Christianity, she described it as this happy moment when she joined my
There's
dad.
this lift truck over here.
I think we are.
If you go over there and break it, we'll all be at full health. And there might be a car. There should be a car over here too.
But when I came back to her a few months later,
Actually, I was thinking that.
Everybody gets to this lift truck. Lift truck right here.
Very premature to make a decision. So I really don't talk about much.
Wait, just wait till we all get over here.
No,
No, wait.
It changed dramatically for me.
All right.
I don't really have that kind of self-confidence. So I feel
I guess there's no car over here.
outside.
There's still a jump pad over here.
my mom lets me clear about this normal rule. She will always be thankful to the people from church who helped her get enough food. In the same way that I want to clear that I'll always be thankful to my parents. But looking back, my mom sees that the kindness of Christians can be transactional. We give you free stuff, and in return,
Jump
you
pad
go
right
to
here.
church.
This is how church trying to get people to become believers. If you're really pleased, if you're not
Somebody in there.
become a believer, that's
You think it's
We're
right?
gonna have to get his car. You have others. Wait for me.
no, that's a
Hold up, I'm gonna put the shield on. Just stay right here.
very light, very step.
We're gonna have to. Oh, he left. So just me and you.
I did
Go back
really
there.
think about that.
Let's go get that lightsaber. Keep going.
Over the years, my mom's been really
Go to the
hurt
left.
by the different
Go over there.
church.
Go over there.
She raised questions
Turn
about the
around.
Bible.
Go to the microphone. Go
Like
to
if
the
God
microphone.
created everything, why did he
Right
also
over here.
create
Go
fruit?
there.
Why would he allow Satan to tempt Eve into eating the forbidden fruit?
And
Why
we're
would
gonna
he
miss
even
it.
create forbidden fruit in the first place? Why not create whatever
Let's
fills you
go.